Hello, willkommen, bienvenue, welcome one and all. I am Gareth Wax of Many Purple Hats, talking with my good friend Stephanie Mitchell Hughes of Resilience 2.0, a lady who has been through what she often refers to as hard places, come out the other side, hopefully with a wealth of knowledge, experience, and wisdom. And we often talk about what it is to be resilient, to cope with whether work-based issues, whether COVID-related issues, or just essentially making it work in the modern age. And what she's brought to my attention is a lady called Dr. Shante. Before we watch a video and react to it, Stephanie, tell us more about Dr. Shante and why this is relevant to you and probably to everyone.
Well, I like Dr. Shante. She is a professor. I follow her on Instagram, but she's a college professor. And I really, really like her. And I started following her because she just drops and continues to drop on a multiple times a week pearls of wisdom, just nuggets of wisdom that you can apply to your life.
Okay.
And I really am always struck by what she talks about, and I can identify with it.
So guys, what I would say to you, and I've never really put this before, but if you like what we're doing here, it'd be useful if you could follow us. Find Stephanie Mitchell Hughes on LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn. Follow, connect to us both. We're keen to ensure that people get something out of this. We're not just talking here for our own good, although let's face it, we've built a strong friendship out of doing exactly that. It goes to show people from entirely different walks of life, locations, geographically and physically, can build strong friendships out of a
Exactly.
common interest to share useful information that helps other people get through their daily lives. But before we do anything more, let's have a react to Dr. Shante. I believe in this video, what she is doing is talking about what she will only put up with in 2024.
Right, right. So let me just say, well, they'll know from looking at it. You'll see.
Okay, here we
So
go.
go ahead.
Oh, hang on.
So a year ago, I made this video about the mindset that I would enter the year with. Take a look. So for 2023, I have decided that I am shifting my availability, meaning I am not available for less, I'm not available for small, I'm not available for lack, I'm not available for scarcity, I'm not available for fear, I'm not available for jobs that don't pay me what I'm worth. I'm not available for relationships that don't treat me the way that I deserve. I'm not available for anything that does not have a meaningful, tangible, reciprocal benefit. I can trace every success that I have had this year to that statement. I cannot tell you how critically important it is to shift your mindset into a version of yourself that is thriving, that is healthy, that is abundant. When you are no longer available for anything less, it's like there's a shift in the atmosphere that changes the outcome. There are versions of ourselves that are struggling and surviving, but there are also versions of ourselves that are happy and thriving. And if I can impress upon you anything as you go into the new year, do not make yourself available for less, for lack, for small, for anything that is less than what you are worth and what you deserve. And watch, won't you have one of the best years of your life?
Right. I
Okay,
mean, yeah. It's like yes, 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 yes. And
but
it's like
as a short king, I'm only 5'7", and she says she won't put up with small. Well, I'm not sure about that, but potent things come in small packages. But
right. I mean, yeah, we're not thinking small. We're not going to envision small. We're going to, and see the thing that's really ironic about that video and the things that she was talking about, next year is a leap year. And for me, and I'm not a superstitious person, But leap years seemingly are always the most challenging years. And it's like, I don't know if it's like a shift in because there are 29 days in February. I'm not really sure. But I normally, as I approach a leap year, I normally am like, okay, I'm just going to get in the bed on January 1st, and you can cut, and I'm pulling the
Really?
covers over my head.
You're just gonna wait for it all to be over, right?
Yeah, and I'm just gonna, and then just come and get me on December 31st at 11:50, December 31st, 2024 at 11:59 p.m. And then I can resume my life again. But but what she said really, really challenged me because I've got a number of major life transitions that are coming up next year. I
Right.
have a kid, my youngest is getting ready to graduate from law school.
Right.
I most certainly did not encourage her to go to law school. Had I known she was even remotely interested in going to law school, I would have told her find something else to do. But she is now graduating, so that's a transition. My
But really,
oldest,
really, if I know anything about American law, law
mhm,
school is not
it's
really. It's
brutal.
not. That's not. Yeah, but law school is brutal enough. But actually, being in the legal profession in America
It's
is brutal.
tough. I mean, it just can really, really be tough. And people, this is just as an aside. For the last few weeks, there's an online publication that I follow called Above the Law. And I also follow American Lawyer or law.com. And
Right.
the headlines for the last few weeks have been this is a major year. We're going to have big bonus and salary increases. It's just a bonanza. And so you look at the amount of money that the one at some firms, people are there. The highest bonus is going to be $300,000. That is on top of their salary.
That's
And
crazy. Now, hang on. Hang on.
but the
Is
thing
that is that is that, am I alone in
that's
this?
no, that is in a large, what is known as big law firm, world.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
have never ever been in a big law world. I never ever wanted to be.
No.
So because you work, being a lawyer is a lot of work. It doesn't matter where you work and what type of law you practice. It is a tremendous amount of work and it's a lot of commitment. But the thing is that when you don't get paid $500,000 a year and a $300,000 bonus, or $200,000 a year and a $20,000 bonus. That doesn't just happen. There's a cost that comes with that. And so I don't fault people if you can get that money and that's the life you've chosen for yourself, then have at it. Good luck and God bless. But if you go into a setting like that, they essentially own you. And if
Yes.
they call you at 3 o'clock in the morning and say this has to be done, guess what? It has to be done. And if they have childcare and meal delivery service and meal prep services, and they put couches in your office and all of this other kind of thing, that's because you live there.
Yeah, yeah. That's you got to work out where
Right.
you're spending the most of your time and where you're eating most of all. If it turns out to be the office, guess what? That's your domicile.
Exactly. So I got one kid transitioning, and I'm not really sure, like, in terms of like what job she's going to take. All of that is still being sorted. But then I have my oldest who is getting married. I was just, it seems like he was born just yesterday, but
Right.
he is getting married. And and then we've got other things that are
Hang on.
happening.
And this is a This is a match that you feel is
Oh,
good.
yeah. Oh, absolutely,
And,
I
and,
do.
and this is
I feel very good about that. For me, it just made it signals like a major shift.
all
And
right.
so because I've got these transitions happening, I cannot just go get in the bed on January the 1st at 12:01 a.m. because it's a leap year and get out. I've got to be present for all of it.
Right.
And so the thing that I like Dr. Shantae's videos, I like what she talks about, but I like this video in particular because it challenges this mindset that I had adopted, that basically it's a leap year, and while I may not literally get in my bed, I'm going to have like it's going to, because it's a leap year, I'm like looking ahead and going, this is how I'm going to navigate my mindset for the year. So that would mean not taking chances, thinking small, not pursuing the things that I really, really want to do, again, small, which then in turn leads to, at least for me, a mindset of lack, a mindset of scarcity, a mindset of just having very low expectations, low self esteem, low self confidence. And it's like, no, 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 no. Because of all the conversations that we've had, both on camera and many of them off, that there's a direction that I'm headed in. And it's like, well, you're headed here. So, you know, I've had people, because I've been writing and talking about living with a mental illness, writing about resilience, writing about the workplace. I've been doing this now for 10 years. And for me, most of the time, well, really, until I started working with you and Cora Lynn, I was like, well, I do this because this is what I enjoy. I like to write. Whoever's supposed to read it's going to read it. And it's like, no, I do this because I sincerely want to help other people. And I do this because I always feel as if I learn a lesson, I don't learn the lesson for my benefit. I learn it because I have a responsibility to tell other people.
Right.
And I don't expect people, and I'm not saying, oh, you have to do what I do or go through what I go through. But what I want people to do, and I guess maybe the best experience for me that that shows that is when I realized that I had been depressed for at least a decade and didn't know it. And I was like, no one should live their life depressed for a decade. And
No,
that same thing
because
applies.
as the word
Right.
suggests, when you're living with depression,
Mhm.
what's happening there is you are coping rather than thriving.
Exactly. 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 And life is too short to simply cope. And life is too short to just accept the crumbs. You can get and are in and work, you are, if you're talented, you're doing this work, all of this, you should thrive in whatever way is going to really speak to you. And if you have goals for yourself or there is something that you want to do, it is okay to go out and set your mindset, create an intention for yourself, just like she is saying. And so it's like the whole thing with one of the things that people, I've gotten this question over and over and over again over the last 10 years. When are you going to write a book? When are you going to write a book? When are you going to write a book? And my response, and when people would say this to me, is either I would think this or I would say this. I don't even know how I would even start writing a book. I don't even know where I would begin. Well, it's like we talked about off camera last week. I do have now recently a framework to begin. And so it's like, well, what am I going to do with that? Am I going to pursue this in 2024? Or am I going to get in my proverbial bed because it is a leap year and pull the covers over my head and say, okay, I'll come back and see you and I'll pick this up in 2025? No, it's like, it's everything that she said. I am no longer here to be bound by low self esteem. I'm no longer here to be bound by lack of self confidence. I'm no longer here to think small, not small in terms of I just want the whole world, but small in terms of the goals that I set for myself, in terms of setting goals that I know that I can achieve, rather than really kind of taking a few steps out there and standing on faith or work or what have you, and really knocking the ball out of the park. So for me, what she talked about really challenged my own thinking and mindset about this as I'm going into 2024. And that doesn't mean that everything is going to go smoothly. It doesn't mean that stuff is not going to be hard or that I will not sustain losses in 2024. Because it's like we've talked about before, both of us are in what I call the long season of loss. So, that kind of thing is going to happen, but it's like, okay, this has happened. I've got to navigate this, but that doesn't mean that I should change my mindset on what I am willing to accept. And that same thing goes for you too, Gareth.
I know that. I know that. It
I
makes
mean,
no
it's like,
difference.
so, I mean, we're looking at 2024, and, there's some people that choose, like, what's your word for 2024? And so it's like, no, I'm not doing a word or anything. But
No,
what I am going to do is set my intention and my mindset for 2024.
I got two questions. I got two
Uh-huh.
questions. I want to know what your business mindset is, and I want to know what your personal mindset is, because they are different.
Well, so my business mindset is to speak on bigger stages, talk to more people. My big business mindset is to continue to grow what I've been doing,
Okay.
to
And now,
really
okay,
grow that.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I thought that's kind of what you were going to say. Now, what
Mhm.
from a personal point of view, what is it?
My personal mindset is it's the same thing, but it's the same thing, but it's from a personal standpoint. Because one of the challenges that I have had is I tend to be much an introvert. I don't spend a lot of time with socially with people. I'm inside a lot. And the other part of it is that so much of my life for the last 30 years, 20 odd years or so, was being a solo mom. So I was laser focused on taking care of children, running children here, doing this, doing that. And because I didn't have a support system here,
Right.
and I'm my kid's only parent for all intensive purposes. I'm their only parent. Their father is still alive, but
I understand.
we don't discuss him
Okay.
and or anything like that, because my story and my life is not about
It's not defined by that event.
him. Yeah,
It's almost
right.
defined by your reaction to the world, that event having passed.
Exactly. So I have a responsibility, it's been focused on that kind of thing. And so it's like, well, what am I going to do socially for myself? How am I going to create meaningful relationships with other people? What am I going to do that so I can build and have friendships too? I can shift out of that mindset of if it does, and I don't have a minivan anymore, but I used to tell people when they were like, well, can you, and I'm like, if it doesn't happen in my minivan, if you want to meet with me or you want to talk to me, get in the minivan, because if it doesn't happen in there, then I don't know anything about it, because that's where I spend all of my time. And even though I have long COVID and everything, that is not going to stop me from getting out into the world as much as I can.
All right.
So one of the things, so like and so this is the other thing, because actually I was thinking about this the mindset and everything last night. So personally, there are spaces that I want to go. And I was thinking, you don't even have a passport. So I want to go to the UK. I want to come to the UK.
With all my heart, I hope you can find a way to us.
I want to visit. And of course, I get to see you. And then I'm going to go do, I don't know, maybe we can do a walking video. Because now, in addition to going
to
beautiful
places by the Thames, I would love to take you to my old stomping grounds in Richmond, because it's beautiful there, and again by the river, which is my natural home. And also I would like to take you to some places which are uniquely British. And
that's me. But that is something that I've wanted to do. And it's like, you need to get a passport.
Well, no, hang on.
Starting point.
So you've got one child who's about to jump into law and run her, and dare I say it, how old is she? She's
25.
Right. Yeah. To be able to run her own life, be in another one who's about to jump into marriage and run his own life. This is your jumping off point, lady.
Exactly. And it's like, well, I have things that what do you want to do?
Yeah, this could properly be your time. You know that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have a friend, my oldest friend, we've known each other since we were in diapers, because our parents were friends and our friends.
Okay.
And so, when our mothers, who are the same age, they became empty nesters, they shopped. Her mother came to visit, because she at the time was living in Columbus. And so her mother came up one day to visit. And my friend calls me and she's like, my mother is taking a nap, because she spent all day in a store that used to exist called Schottenstein's. And she came home with 6 pairs of flat black shoes.
6?
Yeah. And I was just like, we just really, and like my mom, until my mother, I mean, she was just buying all kinds of things. I would go home to visit and she's got all this stuff. And my father was just like,
what the hell are you doing with all this stuff?
Exactly. I mean, so I don't really see myself, and I don't want to go to the store and buy 6 pairs of flat black shoes because I don't have anything else to do.
So that's called retail therapy. And it's what people often do if they want to fill spaces in their life because they haven't had perhaps the impetus or the imagination or whatever it is. I'm going to teach you a bit of Yiddish here. We call it sechel, which is the impetus, the drive to go and make a change or to do something more. And you're missing that, right? But now is your time, and you right. So your next stage, lady, is to go and sort that
and to go out and step out and be with. Now I work with people who like to dance. Like, we had a holiday party for NAMI. It was our community holiday party last night.
Did you dance?
No, I didn't dance. I was out checking people in, but I work with people who love life and love enjoying themselves and who love to dance. And it's like, and have a good time, and what have you. And it's like, I'm just going to step right out there, and I'm going to widen or get a circle of friends here in Columbus, and then I'm going to go take my picture so I can get my passport, and somewhere somehow I get to the UK. And so we'll have to see what happens. But I
So,
want to
guys,
set an intent.
guys, I'm putting down a line in the sand right now. Yeah, this is my witness. So I've got this audience as my witness. I'm putting a line in the sand. So Stephanie is going to be with me at some point next year, and we'll be live streaming from beside the Thames, live streaming from in front of St Paul's Cathedral. We're going to be live streaming from a variety of different locations, and hopefully during that time, hopefully it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to introduce Stephanie to my wife Heather, and to enjoy some of the countryside, because I live in the middle of the country now. We're going to be doing these things because this is, as I said, this is Stephanie's time.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
on that bombshell, I'm
Yeah.
afraid I'm going to draw this to a close. Stephanie Mitchell Hughes, a lady who has been through a bunch of stuff and has become infinitely wiser because of it, whose mission is to try and help others to stop capsizing, falling into the crevasses and the ditches that maybe she can see more clearly, having been through them herself. Myself, Gareth Wax, Many Purple Hats, helping people market themselves more effectively on LinkedIn. But I tell you what, it's been a rare pleasure and a privilege to have been, albeit a minor fixture in that. And I thank you for the opportunity to do so. I'm looking so much forward for Stephanie to come over here and experience perhaps a different feel of life. I mean, we're all human beings, but we have some of the same stresses, but they're subtly different.
Yeah.
If you hurt yourself, you don't have to worry about whether you've got insurance. If for the you don't get a ride in the to the hospital and somebody presents you with a credit card receipt. It's there's none of that. When you walk in the streets, you don't think you're going to get shot. There's no possibility of that. If I walked hand in hand with Stephanie into a pub, people just get on and drink their beer. Nobody cares. Do you know what I'm saying? It's going to be subtly different, and I can't wait for Stephanie to do that. In fact, I would like to almost have a series of videos where we make, which is kind of like experiences from the other side of the pond.
Exactly.
And I think it's going to be good, and I think it will inform you as to what is rational, what is irrational, what is acceptable, what is unacceptable. Because I certainly think there are certain levels of behavior, attitudes, approaches which are wholly unacceptable, and from on our side and on your side, everywhere. And
Right.
I think experiencing a way in which something happens somewhere else will give you another view to that. But I just want to thank Stephanie again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Gareth.
It's been a rare joy. And I want all of you to remember this time. This is, I've drawn the line in the sand. We will be together. I will be experiencing things through her eyes, vicariously through Stephanie's eyes, next year. But I just remember all of you, right now is a time of great pressure. Everybody seems to make wrong changes and wrong moves under this pressure, coming up to Christmas, coming up to New Year. Just because you don't have someone to hug and kiss on New Year's Eve doesn't mean you're a loser or a failure. It just means you're a work in progress. That's all it means, like all of us. And there is so much more to discover and find. Please don't write anything off. It's not the end of 2023. It's the beginning of 2024, which is yet more voyage of discovery. Thank you so much, Stephanie. I look forward to our next tete-a-tete. But until then, I wish everybody a safe and pleasant weekend, and of course, great mental health. Bye-bye now.